Let's review finding complex zeros of a polynomial, given an example that says we need to graph f of x given a complex zero. The first thing we need to do is to set up our synthetic division. We put our little box for our factor and then our coefficients, -3, +17, -24, +14, and +8. Once we've set up our synthetic division, we put in our factor of 1 minus I and bring down the first coefficient, which is -3. Now we multiply 1 minus I times -3. When we do that, we get -3 plus 3I. We're going to add that to our next number, which is 17. So we have 17, and then underneath that we have -3 plus 3I. When we add that, we're going to get 14 plus 3I. Now we need to multiply 1 minus I times 14 plus 3I. We are multiplying two complex numbers, so I have 1 times 14, which is 14, and -I times 3I will give me -3I squared minus 14I plus 3I. From here, I'm going to change that I squared, so I have 14 plus 3 minus 11I. Combining my real terms, I have 17 minus 11I, and I'm going to add that to our next number. So underneath the -24, I have 17 minus 11I, and when I add that, I get -7 minus 11. Now we need to multiply 1 minus I times -7 minus 11I. Again, we are multiplying complex numbers. We can see 1 times -7 is -7. -I times -11I is positive 11I squared. The -I minus the 7 is going to be me a positive 7I, and then 1 times the -11I will give me my -11I. Adding my reals together and my imaginaries, I'm going to get this complex number and put it underneath the 14 and add. Now we need to multiply 1 minus I times -4 minus 4I. Again, we're multiplying complex numbers, so 1 times a -4 is a -4. -I times a -4I will give me a positive 4I squared. A -I times a -4 will give me a positive 4I, and 1 times -4I is a -4I. Changing my I squared to a -1, we can see we're going to get -4 minus 4. My imaginaries cancel each other. When I add it to the last number, it becomes 0. Now we need to set up our depressed polynomial for synthetic division. Inside of our factor box, we put 1 plus I because we know that 1 minus I is a factor, then so is 1 plus I. Again, I put down my coefficients of my depressed polynomial and bring down the first coefficient. Now we need to multiply 1 plus I times -3. That will give me -3 minus 3I. Then we're going to add that to the next number. After adding, now we need to multiply 1 plus I times 11. That will give me 11 plus 11I. I'm going to add that to the next number. When I add, I'm going to have positive 4. Now we need to multiply 1 plus I times 4. That will give us 4 plus 4I. We're going to add that to the last number, and when we do that, we're going to get 0. We're not surprised because we knew that 1 plus I was a 0. Now we can write the depressed polynomial. In other words, -3x squared plus 11x plus 4. This is the last factor after the other two complex zeros.